everybody, welcome back to GamePlan, where coaching dreams become reality. We've assembled a squad of awe-inspiring speakers to fuel your coaching business with top-tier strategies and boundless inspiration. And remember, I always tell you, implementation beats information any day. So make sure that you find something that you want to go ahead and work on. And for one step further, come on into the group. Let me know what it is and the date, and let the magic of teamwork and accountability propel you to victory. So get ready to uplevel your coaching game, because today I've got with me Lisa Atkinson, and we'll be talking about the power of a blog, building authority and converting clients effortlessly. Hey Lisa, how are you doing this morning? Well, for morning for me.
That's all right. That's right. I'm good, Liz. Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is a pleasure.
That'll be great. I love talking about all things blogging, because I think it's a really cool mechanism that coaches can use to gain authority, traction, and really start to build an audience, in all honesty. So before we start, let me explain to everybody who you are. So Lisa Atkinson is the founder of Blogging Success Zone and host of the Future of Blogging Summits. She is a blogging expert who is passionate about helping new and newer bloggers start strong and achieve success in the online world. Her patient, caring, and hand-holding nature makes it easier to learn. She has a master's degree in community development from Kansas State with over 15 years of city planning. She learned how to patiently handhold and help property owners and developers so they could break through the confusion of municipal rules and get the results they desire. Now she brings that skill and expertise and many others to the online world, helping her clients conquer tech, build expertise, attract traffic, and make money online, often with multiple streams of income. So, for those who may not know what a blog is, and I know it sounds preposterous that people may not know, why don't we start there? Explain to us all, what's a blog?
Hey, yeah. So a blog is basically a document. Excuse me one second. A blog is basically it has to have a place to live online. So usually most people have a website that then they can put blog posts on, and it's basically the part of the website that gets updated most frequently. So it's the part that where you're able to answer questions and talk through things and basically show that you know what you're talking about, that people should trust you, that you have helpful information. It's basically a way for people to get to know you you put effort in one time, they get benefit, multiple people get benefit all at the same time. So it really is a time saving for you while really growing your audience in a quick way. And people can, when you find someone, especially coaches, when you find a coach that you're like, I wonder what they're about, if they've got a blog, you can go to their website and you can read post after post after post after post, like, oh, this is interesting, oh, this is helpful, oh, I need to know more about that. It just helps you to get that foot in the door with your new people in a way that isn't in their face. It doesn't require extra work from you, and it's a once and done thing. So you're not recreating stuff over and over and over again. Literally create a blog post once. And the advantage of blogging compared to social media is that the minute you post to Facebook or Instagram, it starts to decrease in value, right? It starts to decrease, especially within about 24 hours. If it's not been seen, it's not likely to be seen unless someone goes to your particular page or post where you've got stuff housed on there, but it's not going to be found just in their feed. The difference with blogging is the longer it sits on your page, the more likely it is to be picked up and seen by others through various avenues. So it's actually something that gains in value over time, which I absolutely love, and is one of the reasons that I highly recommend blogging.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't endorse that more, because of course the like, know, and trust factor is huge. And how do we get that if we don't have some sort of regular presence? And I can't agree with you more about social media, as you know. But let me roll it back again, because we mentioned the word blog posts versus blog, and I just want you to unpack it, because I don't want anybody to leave this session not understanding the power of a blog. Because for me, I mean, it just, for me, you're either going to have a podcast, a blog, or YouTube as your consistent mechanism. How would you explain to somebody why they should pick a blog over perhaps YouTube or a podcast? What is the advantages if it was going to be this or that to begin with?
Yeah, so there's obviously pros and cons with any mechanism that you use. And if you do have YouTube or you do have podcasts or you prefer to write, whether you're a person who likes to speak just without being on camera, then, you know, podcasting is great. If you want to be on camera, then YouTube is great. If you want to do written, then, you know, a blog is great, but the benefit of a blog is that you can incorporate both of those other elements within your website. So it's really, it doesn't have to be an either or kind of situation. You can have blog posts like Brendan Burchard. His blog is quite simply his podcast put into blog format so that you can see the highlights of it and kind of a quick, you know, a quick overview of it. And if you want to watch, you can watch or listen to the, you know, the recording. It's basically, you just want to have a place for people to find you on your turf, right? So when you have a website or a blog is a part of your website, but you own the website. You have the ability to decide what you do with it, whether you promote it or if you don't, how you do things. Like, everything is in your control, which is why I really like blogging. But I also like that there's really no rules. Like, you can make almost anything work, especially if your purpose, especially like if you're a coach and your purpose is trying to get people to know you, you can use any and all mechanisms you want, and they will all flow together nicely on your website with a blog.
Yeah, I so if we think about that and we think about the value of it, because I really like the way that you put that, what would be a average length size for a post? Is it a daunting thing to undertake? Because I hear a lot of people will say, oh, I just don't know what to write and I don't know how long to write. And then they get all up in their heads about it and make it bigger than it necessarily needs to be. So what's your advice around that?
So up until recently, there was a minimum of 250 words that was recommended by Google. They've since removed that because when you have like recipe posts, you don't always hit that 250 words, like, just because of how they calculate things. And so they've removed that, and they just basically want you to provide helpful information. So people were filling their post up with like stories and whatever that weren't relevant to what they were trying to do, just to get enough words in. So fortunately, that requirement is removed. I do recommend trying to stay above 250 to 300 words if you can. But basically, what you want to do is answer a question.
Yeah.
If someone's asking you a question, if it's something that you've heard frequently, even better. But if there's stuff that people commonly have questions about, that is an excellent blog post, because just think, you know, you might get asked this question by 2 or 3 people, but how many people have the question and aren't asking? When you can answer that question for them, they feel relief. Like, they know that you're understanding what they need. And so it really does work to your favor. And you don't have to be super fancy about how you do it. Like, you can even just go into Chat GPT, type in a question, get the response, look at what they have, and then just make some modifications to it so that it suits you. It's what you would say, but it can give you that opportunity to get off of like, what do I say? How do I say it? How do I even think about framing how I would answer this? So you have kind of that starting point, and you get off of like, how do I deal with this blank page?
Yeah, I like that. So 250 words on an A4 sheet. How many? Give me a size. Have I filled up the sheet? Am I half the sheet?
I'm not honestly sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Letter size. You're not a thing that comes out of a printer.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I haven't done that calculation for a while, because I just do it on other formats. But you can do, like, if you're doing it in Google Sheets or Google Docs, it will do a word count for you.
Mm.
Honestly, though, you don't really have to pay attention to the word count. If you're just answering the question and you feel like, oh, well, this probably is enough, it's probably enough. If you have, like, you do the word count and you're like, oh, that's only, X number, and you need more, just answer another question that kind of relates and give it a title that fits both questions, and you're good.
Yeah. So what is the advantages to doing that? Because you quickly mentioned a little bit about Google and searching. So I'm assuming we're
Yeah.
going to go into SEO. So why don't you break down the power of SEO and why, for me, this is where you stand out, right? This is what the blog contributes to. So why don't you talk to us a
Absolutely.
little bit more about that?
So when you're thinking about SEO, I don't want to get overly technical, but when you think about SEO, if you do a Google search, and let's just say, what's a question? Can you think of any questions that your coaches would
Yes, every coach
have?
in this room's got one question: how to get clients. There you go.
Okay. So if you ask the question, how do you get clients as a coach,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What you would do is you want to take a look at what comes up on that Google response. What kinds of responses show up? Are they a list? Are they giving you a step-by-step how-to? Are they giving you, like, here's 15 things you can do? So that would be more the list kind of thing, as opposed to the, like, step-by-step would be first do this, then do that, then do that. So that tells you, like, okay, that's the ideal format for what it is that you're trying to do, right? That would be the ideal format that you want to follow. You want to match what Google is showing you as the results, because they decide what the appropriate response is. They get to decide. Most people, when they've done searches for this, they've clicked into these responses, they've stayed on the pages longer when it's this kind of a thing. So that's how they formulate what people want to see. And their main goal, you have to keep in mind, their main goal is to get people to the search results that they think people want, and that people will,
mm,
appreciate and read and stay on the page longer, and not just click out and do another similar search or go to another result. Like, so they tabulate all of that we don't have to pay attention to, but we don't know exactly what goes into that. We simply can take a look at the results and say, okay, so based off of what I typed in, this is generally what Google thinks they want to see. And
yeah.
then you want to reflect that. As you're doing SEO, you notice you said, how do you get clients? Well, I added, how do you get clients for coaches, right?
Mhm,
So the
mm,
more words that you can add, how do you get clients if you're a coach for teaching horse riding, or how do you, like, those kinds of things? The
yep,
more details that you can put into your search, the more specific the result will be. And also, the more words that you use that are specific like that, the more you're going to have your content stand out. So if you're trying to write, like, how do you get clients as a coach, you're going to have a ton of people that write that content. But once you niche into the specifics of what it is you're talking about, there's less and less competition the more specific you get.
yeah. That's very helpful. I'm sure everybody just learned from that. So, because you were, in many ways, you could think about SEO like some sort of algorithm that it's looking for specific requirements. Does it also want frequency, or is it based on each post you put into your blog?
So there's a lot of different factors that relate to whether or not your content is going to be found.
Mhm.
Frequency can play a role. It's, I think, less of a role than things like when other people say, hey, this person knows what they're talking about, you should check out their website. That's what's called a backlink.
Yeah.
um Backlinks tend to give more authority to your website. So if you're organically, meaning you're not saying, hey, Liz, can you link to my site, please? And then do that to 20 other people. And that's how you get a bunch of links, and they are all, very cooked up. That's not going to be something that Google wants to see. They literally want to see someone like Liz saying, hey, Lisa really knows her stuff about blogging. If you're looking for blogging information, this is a website or a blog post you should check out.
Yeah.
That is a legit, like, hey, I really trust her, you should follow her.
Mhm.
That's That's what they call, so there's white hat, gray hat, and black hat SEO. So think of gloves, like white gloves, very clean. Gray is like, yeah, it's not especially promote, like they don't recommend it, but you can do it. And black hat is like, if they catch you doing it, they can, they can basically send traffic elsewhere. And so the more you get into, like, it's not quite as clean, like, oh, Liz, can you give me a post that technically shouldn't be done, but if you do it judiciously and it's relevant and it's helpful, that can be more gray than black, so to speak. So
I've got so many questions on SEO, but we're not going to go there. Because one just popped into my brain. So we're going to go back to consistency of content and frequency, because if you're going to commit to doing a blog, what is it that, and let's say we've got an end goal. We've got an end goal of wanting it to be a revenue stream for our broader coaching businesses, because as you know, most of the people here will be coaches. So we want to have that as an audience build mechanism and a low like no trust mechanism. How could I monetize it? What options would a coach have to get their blog monetized? And here's something I want you to answer in a critical fashion, because I think when we're proper prior planned and we have our expectations correctly set, we're more likely to achieve the outcome than think, oh God, I've got 5 posts, nobody's reading it, it's a disaster, why am I even bothering? So frame up for us what a monetized blog looks like in terms of how many, what am I monetizing, and what type of revenue can I expect? And that's a big question, but I think a lot of people want to hear the answer to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can monetize a blog or a website with very little content, but you're going to get better results the more content that you have. If you have just a few posts, you have fewer opportunities for people to say, hey, you need to check out this post, it's great. You have fewer opportunities for people to go from one post to the next post to the next post, consuming your content and thinking you're amazing. So you have less opportunities also for sending emails saying, hey, I have a new blog post, I thought you might like it. Those are all opportunities, and you have less of that when you have fewer posts. It's saying that if you even have, say, 3 to 5 posts, you can have that be a benefit to your coaching business. It's just going to be it's not going to bring people to your site. It's going to help people get to know you once they're on your site. So little different, nuance there. But in terms of making money, there's a couple of different ways, quite a few different ways that you can make money, obviously. So coaching in and of itself, you've got the opportunity to do coaching. Obviously, that's its own entity, and you've talked a lot about that. So I don't think we need to go into that so much. Yeah. But beyond that, there's affiliate marketing, which is if, say, Liz, you had a program where you gave a percentage of the proceeds to someone who promotes your program, and when people sign up, then they get that money. That's a great way to make money, because oftentimes those range from 30 to 50% of the purchase price. So if you think about it, you've got $1,000 program you're telling people about, that's a quick $500 you could potentially be making, right? And the benefit of affiliate marketing is that you don't pay to do it. You just tell your people and they decide if they want to do it or if they don't want to do it. So you can promote it more times if you want to have better sales. You can promote it fewer times if you're just like, I'm really busy right now. So you really get to control what you do in that respect. And your blog can really help with keeping people interested, keeping people coming back to your site, keeping your email list engaged, which again helps not only affiliate marketing, but it also helps your coaching business, because you're not just in their email, for the, hey, you should sign up for my coaching. You're in their email to say, hey, this is a really great technique I just learned about, and I wrote a blog post about it, and you would love it, right? So that gives you that opportunity to be mutually beneficial and not just be always in their email asking for money. So you want to balance affiliate marketing posts with general content types of posts. The other thing is you can sell products. So you can sell things that you create, whether it be PDFs or whether it be courses, those kinds of things. You can use your blog as a way to help you sell through that as your website as well. And then there's advertising, which some people like, some people hate. It's definitely a way to make money. It requires a little more traffic. So if you're looking at ad-based, you'd probably want to have maybe 100 plus posts on your website to really make it worth your while, and not be just where when people come to your site to learn about you, they're like, oh my gosh, these ads are crazy. So you want to balance that out, because when you put ads on your site, it slows your site down a little bit. It reduces the user experience a little bit. So most coaches, I would say, probably aren't going to do ads. But if you get a lot of traffic and you're in a niche where you happen to have a good amount, like you would make that decision basically based on a bunch of different factors. Most coaches, I think, would probably not do ads, at least not in the early to mid stages.
And I think it also goes back to the size of your audience, because, you mentioned 4 to 5 blogs would be enough. Posts rather would be enough. I don't actually think it would be, based on audience size. I think if you don't take into account your audience size, and by that I mean on your email list, which is also where you want to drive your viewers of a post to, as you said earlier, then that's what drives income. And I think, going back to my earlier question, I'm going to stress this because part of GamePlan, as you know, is to set expectations in a more realistic way for 2024, is that if you haven't got a list of at least 2,000 people, you're probably going to struggle to monetize anything in today's market, unless you're in a very specialized hybrid niche. And I think to set yourself up for that expectation will bring nothing but money. If we think we're going to hit the ground running and put up 4 posts and do a bit of, I don't know, webinar or an audience build and sell, yeah, not so much these days, not so much. So
yeah. It's definitely a harder.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go.
I was gonna say, it's definitely a harder road. The fewer posts you have, the more content you have, the easier it is for you to get into people's, their inboxes, to get into people's, where they think highly of you and how much you've helped them. And then that just makes the path to having someone as a coach easier.
Yeah. And to keep I really love how you describe the blog, the way you use your blog posts to link to keep traffic on your blog. So why don't you talk about that? Because I think that is a very powerful understanding for everybody to have, of the way that, and that's why I like more posts, because you've got more opportunity to give the people more value. So talk into that for a bit.
Yeah. So if you've got a post, we'll just say you've got a post about how to get clients as a coach. You might say, okay, there's 15 ways that you can get clients as a coach, and here's the 15 ways. Then in another post, you might talk about reason number 1 or way number 1 and go deeper on that. Like, because if you're doing a list of 15 reasons, you're not going to be able to put everything in that one, or it'll be a mammoth post, right? So you'd then be able to talk more specifically about each of the different things and then link back and forth. So by the time you're done, you'll have, just in this particular instance, 16 different posts that talk all about different related things. And if someone wants to go deeper, so if you're talking about, oh, well, you can have, if you have a summit, that's a great way to build your audience. Well, then you might also mention, maybe a bundle, or maybe a, follow-up that you do after a summit. And then you can link to those posts from your original post. You get people kind of bouncing back through all of your different content. And it just really becomes that web of knowledge that helps to build people up, to build up how they think of you and build up their expertise at the same time.
And help them make decisions. Do they want to work with you? Are you somebody that they resonate with? That do your values, your ethics align? Is how you describe things a way that they understand? Because at the end of the day, coaches, I hate to break the bubble, we all sell the same shit to everybody at the end of the day, right? It's the same strategies, it's the same philosophies, it's the same mechanisms, but what's different is us. And I think that's why when we talk about ChatGPT or any other AI that is out there on the market, and they're all usually built around OpenAI, the reality is if you use that without changing it, you're going to become one of the masses. You're not going to stand out. And that's why I loved what you said earlier. Take it and then make it yours, because it's your voice people want to start to learn and hear from. Now, if they are more like me, where I cannot string 5 words together without somebody going, what the bloody hell is she talking about? Because of my brain and the injury and all of that, all of those good things. How can I solve that problem should I wish to be creative and write?
Well, the nice part about the world we live in today is that you can go into ChatGPT and say, okay, so I want to create a post. It's going to be a list. I want it to talk about the 15 ways or a number of ways that people can create create or get clients if they're a coach of XYZ thing. It will give you that list. So then you simply have to take a look. Like it will even tell you, you can say, oh, write the a paragraph for each one or something like that. And it will give you that. It will, do any number of things related to helping you out, whether it be starting with an outline or how do I put together, 3 paragraphs related to this particular thing. You can tell it what kind of tone you want, or, so there's lots of different ways you can modify it. But again, you really do want to take a look at the content that you get created from AI and just say, okay, would I recommend this? Like, do I speak this way? Does this sound like me? You can, here's a great ninja tip. You can take a paragraph of your content, even completely unrelated to the content that you're blogging about, like similar, but not quite the same. And you can say, using the tone and phrasing and languaging of this content, create XYZ based on it. And it will take your way of speaking and create content that kind of reflects that. So it makes it easier for you to edit.
Yeah. And makes it more in your voice, but I still would never recommend anybody goes cut, paste.
Never. No. It would definitely, it makes it faster the more consistent it is with your voice, but especially like the part between, like, here's the title and then here's the first heading, that 2 or 3 paragraphs there, that's the magic of blogging. That's whether they're going to actually read the post or whether they're going to be like, whoa, that's too heavy. Whoa, that's too flighty. Whoa, that's not me. That's the part where you want to give them just a little bit of a tease, what you're going to be talking about and how you're their person. If you can have that be super personalized, they're going to read more of your content. They're going to, they may skim it and find the parts that are most relevant to them. But that's really where they're going to find that magic. So.
Yeah, I really like that, because I think that it's very easy to do a whole bunch of work and get no reward from it, because you don't actually understand the technique or the strategy or the methodology underneath, which is why working with somebody like you, who is an expert in this area, can speed up the results, because you're going to stop us falling into those pitfalls of, okay, let me just throw stuff up, because it's better to have 100 posts up than no posts at all. But 100 crappy posts aren't going to give you what you want necessarily.
Right.
And
you can have some short-term success with that, but long-term, I think you're going to be ending up going back through and making it more personalized anyway. So it's better just to take a little bit of time, get it personalized, make it suit you, make it suit your message and what you're about.
Do it right first time, as we would say. So I'm conscious of time, and I know you've got a super cool gift to give everybody. And as always, it's just underneath as are Lisa's contact details. So why don't you tell us more about that, please?
Yeah, so I have a guide for coaches who are looking at doing blogging, and it kind of talks through why blogging is helpful and effective for coaches.
Yay! So grab that, everybody, because I'm sure you're inspired as I am to get out there and to start to add that into your business. And I think the key thing that Lisa said, for those of you who are going, oh, I just don't know what I would write, she answered it for you. If people are asking you questions, you can guarantee that others have the same question, and that's how you can build out your content quite quickly. Any last thoughts that you want to leave before I ask you my final question?
The only thing I would say is I think the biggest thing is just getting started, because when you make that decision, like, okay, I would like to get more clients, I would like to make an inroad for people to get to know me quicker, faster, easier. I'd like to do this blogging thing. Just starting is the first step. You'll find that there will be roadblocks, because there always are with anything you do that's new. But the act of starting kind of switches things a little bit for you. So you prioritize and you figure it out, and it's easier just because you've started.
Yes, 100%. So here's my question. If you were to leave our beautiful viewers with something that they could go away and physically do, that that would move themselves or their business forward in the next 24 to 48 hours, what would it be?
Well, that's a good one.
Mm.
I would say, something that would move them forward. I would say to create just a couple of paragraphs related to answering a question that you've heard frequently. And post it anywhere. Post it on Facebook. I mean, honestly, your content can live anywhere. It's just a blog is an amazing way to give them the whole menu of what you've got available all in one place, all at one time, so they can consume it at the time and pace that they want to and sort it and that sort of thing. But if you do Instagram right now, or if you do Facebook, or if you have a website, great, put it on a blog post. If you do YouTube, whatever it is, create one piece of content that answers someone's question. And you will never regret having done that, because you never know when someone's going to be like, that was exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you so much. And that's the benefit of having content online.
I like that one, because that one is something that they can go off and do, and it will move them forward, because it also is something that we procrastinate and overthink and make bigger than it necessarily is, no matter what stage of the journey that we are at. So please, everybody, go do that. And like Lisa said, it doesn't matter where you do it, just go do it. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate your time today, and I'll see you all at the next one. Take care.